How's it going, everyone? It's Sam. Today we're covering two things that I think have been cleared up recently, which are some of the main fears of Workhorse investors. And we're going to go over why they aren't really that big a deal anymore. We've kind of shed some light on it, and another YouTuber has done a lot of the legwork, but not everyone follows every YouTuber's channel. So I think that I can provide this value to a lot of people that are investing in the stock and maybe just watch me, let's say. We all listen to different people, so I think this is really good information for everyone to know. If you guys like this kind of thing, please hit subscribe down there. If you haven't already subscribed to the channel, please leave a like. It really means a lot to me. I mean, it really, really means a lot. We just hit 10,000 subscribers. On Friday, I talked about how I was going to pick someone to earn a share of Workhorse or to win a share of Workhorse from our last video. I'll definitely be doing this. I'm filming this on Sunday night, though, so I have to wait because I said that I'd wait through the weekend. But I'll definitely give out that share of Workhorse, or I'll pay the PayPal or Venmo or whatever it is for that share of Workhorse. So if you guys want to be entered in to win stuff like that in the future, feel free to subscribe to the channel. Obviously, there's a lot more value than just that. And if you guys want some free stocks, there's a link down there to WeBull. You can sign up, and as long as you deposit $100, you can get free stock worth up to $1,600. And there's some other good stuff down there that can pay you a lot more than that, like SoFi. If you sign up and deposit $500, you get $50. So there's another good option for you, but there's a whole ton of stuff down there. So one of the main things about Workhorse that people are worried about, and I got a ton of comments for this last Thursday, I believe it was, is that some insiders were selling. Right, so this is always a concern. This is something that a lot of people pay attention to, and I know actually midway through last week, I saw people selling. I took it as they were just selling because, they're insiders, and that's one of the major forms of their compensation, right? But a lot of people were concerned about this, and I understand. So a lot of these sellings are what's known as 10b5s. So we'll go over what that is, but Jack Spencer did a lot of this legwork and kind of found this out, which I'll give him props because I did not see it right away. But let's look at this. The CEO sold about 50,000 shares. So he sold them at $25.78. So if you want to see more information on this is on NASDAQ.com, by the way. You can click on the name, and it shows when he's bought and sold. So you can go and click view on the most recent one here, and you can see the form they filled out. So this is a form 10b5. You can even search for it just to make sure. 10b is only in one place, 10b5 trading plan. Now, if you look this up on Google, you can find that this is a form that's filled out for insiders to sell at regular intervals. So you can see here it's not uncommon to see a major shareholder sell some of their shares at regular intervals. A director of XYZ Corporation, for example, might choose to sell 5,000 shares of a stock on the Wednesday of every month. To avoid conflict, 10b5 plans must be established when the individual is unaware of any material insider information. So a lot of people were worried because we're up for this big USPS contract, and they thought, well, if he's selling the shares, he must not think that they're going to get it because the price will go up after they get it. But he set this up way ahead of time. So I don't think that's any cause for concern. This is something that's pretty regular. I mean, again, their main form of compensation are these shares, and they have to sell them to get compensated. So I totally understand that. And we saw Workhorse on Friday actually come out really strong. I think it was up about 11% on the day if you count aftermarket hours, and it broke $31 a share, which was awesome. So I am not worried about that. Now, the other thing that people are really worried about, and I've talked about this before because I've done a lot of videos on Workhorse. I've done videos on why people don't like Workhorse, and one of the main things that people are worried about with Workhorse is they're up for this big USPS contract, right? But this USPS contract is for 165 or 180,000 vehicles, and they only have about $6.3 billion. Some people are saying that they don't have any money, but this was already put out aside for them, so that's not an issue. But they only have $6.3 billion, which would work out to about $35,000 per vehicle or something. And Workhorse shows on their investor presentation that these will cost between $50,000 and $55,000, right? And a lot of people are worried because companies like Tesla that have been around for a long time barely make money now. How is Workhorse going to be able to make this work? How are they going to be able to sell their vehicles for less? And this is an old interview, but Jack just put it up on his video, and I think it's really interesting. Again, not everyone sees his videos, not everyone sees mine, and the information is so important. It's readily available. It's public information. So I want to play this here. This is pretty important, I think.
Yeah, Workhorse is really revamping their production. I mean, they have 6 million miles of a previous generation that informed the redesign of their vehicles. You know, by the fourth calendar quarter this year, they'll be producing 100 a month, and then they'll step up to 200 a month next year. So they're really at the front end of a big ramp. And then what's really exciting is I think they're highly competitive for the post office procurement. There's 165,000 vehicle procurement going on right now. It's about an $8 billion contract.
It's about an $8 billion contract.
So if you caught that, he said $8 billion. $8 billion contract. We always talk about the $6.3 billion contract, but he is saying it's $8 billion. Now, we haven't really gotten word on this. I think it's mostly just media saying that $6.3 billion because that's what they had said, you know, a handful of years ago when they set out to actually buy these vehicles. My thoughts in the past were that if they're looking to split up the contract, they can have Workhorse vehicles at a higher price point, and then they can have other vehicles because they want to split up the contract, right? They can have other vehicles that come in below, and then they average out to about $35,000 a vehicle. But this is a really well-known senior analyst. His name's Craig Irwin. You can take a look at him. But he is saying that's an $8 billion contract. Now, this was a handful of years ago that they talked about this contract. There has been some inflation. These vehicles have a huge cost savings, so that's the other thing that I've said. They might be willing to put up more money for Workhorse because there is such a cost savings with going electric. So that is something that I've been thinking about, but they have $8 billion and they're only looking for 165,000 vehicles. That comes out to about $48,000 a vehicle. Now, if they're actually able to do that, if it's actually an $8 billion contract, that's going to be great for Workhorse. We might see a good portion of this contract going to Workhorse, and that's what a lot of people think already. So really, right now, there really are no bad things that could happen to Workhorse except for that they don't get a major part of that USPS contract. That's the one bearish point that I actually can give weight to. That's the only thing that I can actually see happening. Right, so I did a video on Friday talking about when I would sell Workhorse, what the price point would be. And that is really the only thing that I could see going wrong for Workhorse. Either they don't get any of the USPS contract, which I don't think is likely, or they get just a small percentage. Now, after that, I think if they get a good percentage of it, the price will really go up a lot. We've talked about the short squeeze. We've talked about how the price will get shot up because of all the people that are betting against the stock. But let me know your thoughts below. Let me know if these were two issues that you had kind of thought about or two things that you hadn't heard about before. Either that they might actually have a bigger contract possible or the insiders filing and selling shares. But let me know your thoughts. I appreciate it. Thank you guys so much. Thank you for hitting the like button. I really appreciate it. Thank you for 10,000 subscribers too. I should have put more weight on that in the beginning because that is amazing. We hit that over the weekend. It means a lot to me, like a huge amount. I mean, I'm actually thinking about, what kind of options and doors this opens going into the future. And that's awesome. Thank you guys so much. I appreciate it. And I will see you in the next video. Bye.